Hey friends, welcome back to my kitchen for another week of What's for Dinner. So tonight we're gonna have Philly cheesesteaks. I got this steak at ShopRite. We found that it's better than trying to cut your own steak, and it's way easier. I have cheese whiz, salt and pepper, Worcester sauce, hoagies, onion, and butter. So the first thing I did was to cut the onions. I'm going to want to saute that in butter, and I also have to prepare the meat by just putting salt and pepper on it. If you can't find already thinly sliced prepared meat at your supermarket, what you're going to want to do is slice the meat against the grain and slice it very, very thin. That way it's like a real Philly cheesesteak. This was just an extra step, the garlic. You don't have to add garlic to your onions, but I think it gives it more flavor. You're going to want to saute your onions until they're caramelized. I also added pepper. Once the onions are fully sauteed, you're going to remove them from the pan and just set them aside. You're going to put more butter in your frying pan, and that's when you're going to add the meat. You can also, in this step, also add your Worcester sauce. The thinner the meat, the faster this step will be for you. You do want to cook your meat until it's no longer pink, so you don't want to get the juice and the flavors out by overcooking your meat.
Don't really care what you think, what you think, what you think.
Now comes the fun part, you guys. All you're going to do is slice open your hoagie. You're going to add your cheese, your steak, and if you want onions or not. The first sandwich I did not add onions because my fiance doesn't like them, but I definitely did add them on mine. You can also use any type of cheese you want. You do not have to use Cheese Whiz. I actually prefer the Land O'Lakes American or Provolone. I tried the Cheese Whiz in this sandwich, and I don't necessarily like it. I mean, it was really, really good, and you can use Cheese Whiz, but I prefer American. So I'm going to put these steaks in the oven at 350 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. That way the bread gets not crunchy, but you know, toasty.
Now I brought my worst behavior, throwing a party in my head. Yeah, prayers from my savior. Just let it rain all over me.
The only thing I would do differently in this recipe, like I stated before, is go back to using Land O'Lakes American cheese or provolone. I think the Cheese Whiz was good, but it's not as good as the yellow American, and once you put those sandwiches in the oven, the yellow American cheese does melt and it ends up looking like the Cheese Whiz anyway, so I would go back to using the yellow American. This next recipe was Chipotle chicken tacos, and it was really, really easy because it's just a dump and go recipe. What you're going to need is 2 pounds of chicken breasts, a medium onion, 1 can of enchilada sauce, and 1 packet of seasoning mix. That one, the Old El Paso. My chicken came out of the freezer, so it was a little bit frozen, but I had absolutely no problems.
As I turn away and cry.
actually didn't get a crock pot for the longest time because of that show, This Is Us, and I was so scared, but I'm really glad I got one because it makes really, really easy meals. Of course, I'm just going to start by cutting up my onion. I only used half an onion because my fiance doesn't like onions, and I didn't think he'd actually notice the onions in this recipe, and side note, he did not. So I was very, very happy about that. I'm just going to place my chicken in the crock pot with the seasoning pack on top of the chicken. Then I'm going to add the onions, followed by the enchilada sauce. That way everything is soaked in that enchilada sauce and it's going to be really, really juicy.
Seems I'm bound to be away from you. I never meant to drive you off this.
So I'm going to cook mine on high for 3.5 hours because at this point it was already 3 o'clock. If you do start this earlier on in the day, which I should have, but I didn't have the enchilada sauce, you can put yours on low for 6 to 8 hours. The 3.5 hours on high though, I found was perfectly okay, and I was really happy with the end results. The next step after the 3.5 hours is to shred your chicken. I did use a hand mixer because I find it way easier and way more convenient, and it's way faster. If you don't have a hand mixer, you can just take the chicken out of the crock pot, put it on a cutting board or in a bowl, and use 2 forks. If you are cooking this recipe on low, you're gonna wait until the 6 to 8 hours is up, depending on which setting you put on your crock pot, and shred it then. I also just added coleslaw to the prepared toppings because I thought coleslaw would be really good in this recipe. I hate mayonnaise. I will not eat anything with mayonnaise, so I need to find a coleslaw recipe that doesn't have mayonnaise in it. Anytime I go to Taco Bell and don't tell them, I take extra sauces for my taco nights. The only thing I would do differently in this recipe is to use hard shell tacos or to fry those soft shell tacos up first. And please, you guys, do not forget to turn off your crock pot. On the next night, we had beef lo mein. So what you're gonna need is steak tips or stir-fried meat, brown sugar, ginger, hoisin sauce, sesame oil, soy sauce, everything bagel seasoning, red pepper flakes, garlic, broccoli, carrots, and rice noodles. Also, start boiling your water now before you do anything else. In a small bowl for the sauce, we're going to mix together 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar, 1/4 cup of reduced sodium soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of hoisin sauce, 2 teaspoons of sesame oil, 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I did not measure the red pepper flakes or the pepper, but you can if you want to. I just kind of put it all in there.
I played for you, I was scrappy, but you sang along, and I thought you knew I could die to keep you near. We've got a fire in the tent, it's 5:30 a.m. Let's be the kids who left, get in trouble again. That stuff's got nothing on you, that was brand new, still it's got nothing on you tonight. I don't need to go over old and useless words. What you said, what I said, that might have made it worse. We're here again at the same spot where we kissed the first time. I swear my pain's far away, long gone by now. We've got a fire in the tent, it's 5:30 a.m. Let's be the kids who...
You're going to want to mix the sauce until the brown sugar is dissolved, and then you're just going to set this aside until we are ready to use it.
Nothing on you tonight. Get back to this, catching up what we missed, or we could just relive that summer night. For all I can, we can spend the firewood till it's end. Nobody's gonna force the morning. We've got a fire in the tent, it's 5:30 a.m. Let's be the kids who left, get in trouble again. That star's got nothing on you.
So I'm going to cut my garlic up now. I'm going to use garlic when I saute the beef and when I saute the carrots. This way it's just easier that when I am sauteing stuff, instead of cutting the garlic at that point, I already have it chopped and out.
Get in trouble again. That stuff's got nothing on you. That was brand new. Still it's got nothing on you tonight.
Oh damn, I've been feeling something for you lately, and I am trying so hard.
So what you're going to want to do for the beef, chicken, steak, whatever kind of meat you're going to use for this recipe, because you can use something other than beef, is you're just going to want to slice it into really thin slices or cubes. You don't want that big chunk of meat in your lo mein, so just make sure you slice it thinly into cubes.
And baby, if you knew, hey, I say I'm doing alright, I'm doing just fine, but I'm scattered, and I cry when you're not around, because it matters, dreaming of your kisses in the night.
For our next step to cook the rice noodles, once your water has come to a boil, you're going to completely turn that off. You're going to add your noodles and you're going to mix it in so that it's completely submerged in the hot water with the heat turned off, and you're going to let that sit for 10 minutes.
Then sirs, because I sure don't wanna know which girl you choose. And no, the thought of her being your bride.
While my noodles are submerged in the hot boiling water, I'm going to start cutting my carrots and my broccoli. I've watched Bobby Flay so many times and I still can't cut carrots. I don't know if it was the knife, the carrot, or me, but I had a lot of trouble cutting these carrots. After I cut the carrots, I'm going to wash my broccoli, and I'm also going to thinly cut that. Did you just see that carrot fall?
But I'm scattered, and I cry when you're not around, because it matters, dreaming of your kisses.
Once my broccoli is all washed, I am going to cut that into thin slices as well. I'm happy to report that the broccoli was way easier to cut than those carrots.
Best friends. Oh, yeah, I'm scattered, we're just.
This is me again distracted and forgetting that I did not put my beef on yet. So what you're going to want to do is put sesame oil onto your frying pan. I'm going to heat that up and I'm going to add my garlic and my ginger. Once that is all sauteed and smelling really fragrant, I'm going to add my beef. If you don't have sesame oil, you can use vegetable oil or maybe some butter would work as well, but I definitely recommend sesame oil and adding it to your kitchen if you don't have it. You can find it at any supermarket.
You're not around, because it matters, dreaming of your kisses in the nighttime, knowing what I'm missing, but I'm still like, hey, I say I'm doing alright, I'm doing just fine, but I'm scattered, and I cry when you're not around, because it matters, dreaming of your kisses in the nighttime, knowing what I'm missing, but I'm still like, hey, I say I'm doing alright, I'm fine, but I'm scattered, we're just friends. Spinning
Now I'm going
like
to saute the beef until it's a nice golden brown color. Once that is obtained, I'm just going to take it out, put it on a plate, and set it aside until my vegetables are all sauteed.
get bored, and you leave me here like I'm your landlord. You come back and say I'm sorry, boo, and I know you never mean it, guess you.
Alright everyone, this next part is super important, so listen up. Once my noodles are done submerging in that hot boiling water for 10 minutes, I'm going to drain them. I'm going to shake them out so that the excess hot water gets drained off of them. After that, I'm going to rinse them in cold water. Do not forget to do this part. You need to rinse the noodles off with cold water and you need to drain them. That way that when I do set them aside, they will stay like that. You don't want them getting hard or all stuck together.
Like wine.
sauteing my carrots and broccoli, I did add some more garlic and ginger. I went a little Emma Lagasse on this part, and I would recommend not adding the ginger and only adding the garlic. Once your carrots are softened, you are going to add that beef. Listen to the sound of greatness, people.
Better things to do. Tell your
The next step is to add the rice noodles into the skillet. I then am going to get the sauce and I'm going to pour it on top and toss until everything is incorporated. I do leave this on the skillet until the sauce is dissolved.
There's nothing like wine. Oh yeah.
I do have my sriracha out because I am a sriracha love freak, and I did add the everything bagel seasoning on top of this. You can also add scallions, or if you have sesame seeds, that would be really good as well. Thank you for stopping by my kitchen this week. Please give this video a thumbs up if you are going to try any of these recipes, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one. I will see you in my kitchen next week.